what's happening around the world
and what's happening here at home. A very good evening. You are watching Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Rochelle Tumodara.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
US Ambassador pledges support to strengthen Sri Lankan economy. Contract of current Excise Commissioner General terminated and UDN Jayavira appointed as replacement. New investigation into Easter Sunday attacks.
ඇත්තටම අලුත් විමර්ශනයක් පරණ තොරතුරු වාර්තා එකතු කර ගනිමි.
Constitutional Council approves acting IGP's appointment. Lakshman Kiriella plans to retire from politics. Dayasiri delays signing nominations due to quota issues.
Lanka පුරාම අපි ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ විදිහට අපි අපේක්ෂකයන් ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉල්ල දිනදී ඒක ලබා දෙනකල් මට අසං කරන්න බෑ.
Sri Lanka women to face India in a crucial match tomorrow in the T20 World Cup. Chamari plans to lead team to victory.
In your top story for tonight, the United States has committed to providing essential support to strengthen Sri Lanka's economy. This was disclosed in a meeting between the US Ambassador to Sri Lanka and the Secretary to the President.
In a meeting held at the President's office, Julie Chung, the US Ambassador to Sri Lanka announced that support would be focused on fostering an export-driven economy in the country. Additionally, Ambassador Chung conveyed congratulations from US President Joe Biden to President Anurakkumar Dissanayake, delivered through Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumar Nayaka. She also noted that the International Monetary Fund and the United States Agency for International Development are prepared to offer financial support to help enhance the economic prospects of Sri Lanka. The United States has pledged both financial and technical support for President Anurakkumar Dissanayaka's initiatives aimed at preventing fraud and corruption. The US has also expressed its commitment to assisting efforts for good governance and ensuring the security of Sri Lanka whenever needed. Additionally, the United States supports the new president's programs focused on developing renewable energy, fostering an export-oriented agricultural industry, and alleviating rural poverty. Julie Chung, the American ambassador, further noted that the current program providing lunches for rural schools will be expanded to include urban schools in the future.
Minister Vijitha Hera, the cabinet spokesperson, stated that the government's foreign policy is to maintain diplomatic relations with all countries without any special preferences. The minister made this announcement during the press briefing to announce cabinet decisions.
අපි ඇත්තටම කිසිදු රටක්
We do not prioritize any country over another. Whether a country is large or small, Sri Lanka maintains diplomatic relations with all nations. We have no distinctions in this regard. We engage diplomatically with India, China, the United States, Russia, Cuba, Vietnam, and all other countries. This month, a Chinese military training ship will arrive in Sri Lanka, and we have granted permission for its visit. This poses no threat to Sri Lanka's security. Previously, American and German naval exercise ships have also visited Sri Lanka, and we granted them permission for short stays. We conduct our diplomatic relations with all countries on an equal footing. On the 10th of this month, a senior official from the US military will visit Sri Lanka. We will receive naval equipment from the United States as aid. We accept such assistance, but always in the best interest of the country.
අපි ඒව ගන්නවා. හැබැයි අපේ රටේ සුබසිද්ධිය සඳහා.
මේ එන චීන නැව මේක මේ රිසර්ච් නැවක්ද එහෙම නැත්නම් යුද නැවක්ද?
මේ එන නැව.
The incoming ship is not a research vessel. It is a military training ship. Various countries have previously sent military training ships to Sri Lanka, and we have granted them permission. Similarly, we have granted permission for this ship as well. It is not a research vessel.
The Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy sail training warship Poang arrived in Colombo today. The Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy sail training warship Poang arrived at the port of Colombo on a formal visit this morning. The visiting ship was welcomed by the Sri Lanka Navy in compliance with naval traditions. Poang is an 86-meter long sail Navy training vessel
crewed by 130 personnel, including 35 officer cadets. Meanwhile, the commanding officer of the ship, Commander Ma Weng-yong, is scheduled to call on the Commander Western Naval Area, Rear Admiral Chintaka Kumarasinghe, at the Western Naval Command headquarters today. To strengthen the camaraderie between the two navies, crew members of the ship are set to participate in a series of programs organized by the Sri Lanka Navy. In addition, crew members of the ship will explore some of the tourist attractions of the country during their stay in Colombo. Additionally, Sri Lanka Navy personnel will have the opportunity to participate in briefings on the operational functions of the ships as well. Concluding the formal visit, Poang will depart the island on the 11th October.
During a press briefing, media personnel inquired about the visit of the Indian Foreign Minister to Sri Lanka.
සකහණියක්ම ඉන්දියානු විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යතුමා ලංකාවට ආවා. එතුමා ඇත්තටම ඒ හදිසියේ පැමිණියේ කුමන කරුණක් සඳහාද සහ රාජ්‍ය පැත්තෙන් ඉන්දියානු විදේශ ඇමතුමාගේ ලංකා ගමනට අදාළව අපිට ලැබුණු යම් වාසියක් තියෙනවද?
සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපේ රටේ සම්ප්‍රදායක් තියෙනවා සහ ඉන්දියානු රජෙත් සම්ප්‍රදායක් තියෙනවා.
Our country as well as the Indian government has a tradition of strengthening diplomatic relations when a new president is appointed. That is why the Indian Foreign Minister visited Sri Lanka. During his visit, he extended an invitation to our President to visit India, and we also invited the Prime Minister to visit Sri Lanka. These discussions aimed to further strengthen the friendly relations between our countries.
පැමිණෙන්නත් ඒ සුහද සම්බන්ධතාවය තවත් ශක්තිමත් කරන්න සාකච්ඡා වුණා.
ඉන්දියා විදේශ අමාත්‍යතුමාගේ සංචාරයේදී මොන හරි මේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට්ස් ගැන මොන හරි සාකච්ඡා කරාද සහ මේ ඔය ආందోලනයකට පත් වුණු අදානි වින් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක ගැන අපේ ස්ථාවරය මොකද ඒක නැවත සමාලෝචනය කරනවද එහෙම ගෙනියනවද?
නෑ එවැනි දේවල් ගැන කතා වුණේම.
No, such matters were not discussed. We clearly stated that this is a transitional period and an election period. The President has just been appointed and no new decisions regarding projects have been made. Therefore, no decisions have been taken to halt or start new projects. There were no discussions on such matters and no decisions have been made during this transitional period.
Additionally, the cabinet spokesperson mentioned that Sri Lanka is making efforts to obtain BRICS membership. Currently, BRICS includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Iran, Ethiopia and United Arab Emirates.
මේ මාසයේ අග BRICS සමුළුව පැවැත්වෙනවා රුසියාව.
The BRICS summit will be held in Russia at the end of this month. Sri Lanka is not yet a member as only 9 countries currently hold membership. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will participate at the official level. Although the President has been invited, he will not attend due to the ongoing election period and government activities. We hope to request BRICS membership for Sri Lanka, and during the recent meeting with the Indian Foreign Minister, we sought India's support for our membership.
Furthermore, Minister Herath stated that Sri Lanka strongly rejects the proposed draft resolution at the current session of the United Nations Human Rights Council.
දැනට ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙන 51 ඇලවිරක් 1 කියන යෝජනාව ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
The 51/1 resolution has been presented and our stance is clear. We do not agree with this resolution. A new president has been appointed and an election is underway to form a new government. Many human rights protection measures are already included in the new government's policies. We will inform the Human Rights Council of our position. We cannot agree with many points in the proposed resolution, and the new government intends to implement new measures to protect human rights which will require some time.
The cabinet, in its meeting held yesterday, decided to immediately terminate the contract of J.M. Gunasiri, who was serving as the Commissioner General of Excise on a contractual basis. The cabinet spokesperson provided certain clarification on this decision.
Gunasiri මහත්මයාව කොන්ත්‍රාත් පදනම යටතේ තමයි
Gunasiri was appointed as the Commissioner General of Excise on a contractual basis after his retirement. A proposal regarding his position was submitted by the Minister of Finance and a cabinet paper was presented by the President. Consequently, it was decided to terminate Gunasiri's service with immediate effect. UDN Jayavira, Special Grade Officer of the Inland Revenue Service, currently serving as an Additional Secretary at the President's Secretariat, has been appointed as the new Commissioner General of Excise, effective immediately. This proposal was also approved by the cabinet.
මුදල් ඇමතිවරයා විසින් කැබිනට් පත්‍රිකාවක් ඉදිරිපත් වුණා. එයත් කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ අනුමත වුණා.
මේ වෙනකොට යම් තොරතුරු වාර්තා වෙනවා සුරාබදු කොමසාරිස්වරයා වගේම අතිරේක කොමසාරිස්වරයෙක් කියලා ඒ වගේම නියෝජ්‍ය කොමසාරිස්වරු 4 දෙනෙක් රටින් බැහැරව යන්නට සූදානමක් තියෙනවා කියලා ඒ වගේම එහෙම යන්න එපා කියලා කොළඹ මහාධිකරණයේ තහනම් නියෝගයක් ගන්න නඩුකරයෙකුත් ගොනු කරලා තියෙනවා. මොන හරි තොරතුරක් තියෙනවද මේ අය රටින් බැහැරව යන්න සූදානමක් තියෙනවා කියලා?
එවැනි තොරතුරක් නම් මෙතෙක් නම් අපිට පොලිසිය වන්ටමට වෙලා නැහැ. බුද්ධි තොරතුරු වශයෙන් කොහේ බුද්ධ්‍යංශයක තියෙනවද කියන කාරණේ මම දැනුවත් නැහැ. නමුත් පොලිසිය වශයෙන් අපිට එවැනි තොරතුරක් නම් ලැබිලා නැහැ.
එහෙම යන්න හිතන් ඉන්නවනම් යන්න එපා කියලා දැන් මේ වෙලාවේ කියනවා. මොකද එහෙම යන්න උවමනාවක් නැහැ වැරදි කළා නැත්තම්.
Were the development efforts in recent times truly aligned with the desires of the people? Now, Sandro, this is a question that needs to be addressed.
That's right. Some of the large-scale expenditures have significantly impacted the current state of our country. Today, we take a look at what has happened to our nation as a result of these expenditures.
What happened to Sri Lanka?
For a long time, the people were promised an expressway from Colombo to Kandy. Now there is indeed a road, but the route is far from straightforward. To travel from Colombo to Kandy, one must take the expressway from Paliagoda to Kadawatha, then switch to the regular road from Kadawatha through Pasyala to Mirigama, and finally rejoin the expressway from Mirigama to Kurunegala before reaching Kandy. Is this the kind of development project that truly benefits our country? These projects were funded by the people's money. While no one opposes building roads and improving infrastructure, the costs associated with these projects raise significant questions. So, what actually happened? Initially, this project began as the Northern Expressway in 2012 with a dedicated project management unit. The original plan was to construct the road from Enderamulla through Gampaha to Mirigama, supported by a feasibility study. However, a policy decision in 2015 changed the starting point to Kadawatha. This decision, revealed in a COPE report on the 10th of March 2021, resulted in an additional cost of approximately 240 million rupees for a new feasibility study. The estimated cost for the original route from Enderamulla to Mirigama was 170.21 billion rupees, while the revised estimate for the Kadawatha to Mirigama route increased to 165.38 billion rupees. According to the COPE report, this decision led to a loss of 4.83 billion rupees. The Central Expressway was planned in 4 sections. Kadawatha to Mirigama, 37 kilometers. Mirigama to Kurunegala, 39.29 kilometers. Potuhera to Galagidara, 32.5 kilometers. And Kurunegala to Dambulla, 60.3 kilometers. Separate project management units were established for each section. Despite initial plans to secure a loan from Japan for the third section, the Attorney General did not grant approval for the agreements. At the same time, issues such as high interest rates and insurance costs, along with problems in the contractor selection process, delayed the project. Eventually, in 2018, 16 local companies formed 4 separate entities and obtained loans from 4 local banks to fund the second section from Mirigama to Kurunegala, which opened in 2020. As mentioned earlier, there is now a section of expressway open to travel from Colombo to Mirigama. As of March 10, 2021, the COPE report indicated that 102.594 billion rupees had been spent on this section, including 2.917 billion rupees for consultancy services. Questions remain about the fairness of these costs and whether the road was built on elevated sections as planned. Yet, was a proper audit conducted, or was any other form of investigation carried out? During the construction of the Central Expressway, a loan from China was approved for the Kadawatha to Mirigama section, but the project faced delays and issues including environmental concerns about the Crudia zelenica tree in Gampaha. This is the road in question. Despite efforts to protect biodiversity, the tree disappeared. The officer who advocated for the protection of the tree also faced strong criticism. At the same time, large concrete pieces recently fell from the road. This is that section of the road. After Sri Lanka suspended foreign debt payments in April 2022, the project was temporarily halted, leaving incomplete sections from Kadavata to Mirigama. Residents in the area suffered during the rainy season due to flooding. Currently, the Mirigama to Kurunagala section is operational, but the overall project raises questions about the efficiency and planning of such large-scale expenses. Currently, we have the Mirigama to Kurunagala section of the highway to travel from Colombo to Kandy, while no one opposes building roads to develop the country. Shouldn't we scrutinize the expenses incurred on these poorly planned projects? These costs will burden us for many years to come. It's not just us, our children and their children will also have to bear these expenses. The country's debt trap and inability to repay loans are due to the lack of tangible benefits from the borrowed funds. This is not a new revelation. We need to investigate these issues. Those who prioritized personal gain over the welfare of the people must be held accountable by the law. Isn't this the expectation of the general public?
Newsfirst with the people.
Cabinet spokesperson Minister Vichitha Herath provided further clarification regarding the new investigations into the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks and the infamous Central Bank bond scam.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඊයේ පෙරේදා කාදිනල් හිමිත් එක්ක ගියා අදාළ ස්ථානවලට ජනතාවගේ දුක ඇහුවා. නමුත් අර මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ජනාධිපති කොමිෂන් සභාවක් පත් කරා. ඒකේ වාර්තාවක් නිකුත් වුණා. ඒ වාර්තාවේ කොළ කැඩුවා කියලා කිව්වා. කොළ හැංගුවා කියලා කිව්වා. වාර්තාව හැංගුණා කියලා කිව්වා. ඇයි වාර්තාව ඔබතුමාලවත් තාම ජනගත කරන්නේ නැති? තාම ඒක හංගගෙන ඉන්නේ. සංගවිය යුතු පුද්ගලයෙක් අතර ඉන්නවත් තාම.
පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයේ පිළිබඳව සොයාබලන්න විශේෂ මැදිහත් වීමක් අපි
We have initiated a special investigation into the Easter Sunday attacks. This investigation will also look into how parts of the report went missing or were removed. The former Director of Legal Affairs was involved in advising on these matters. We are thoroughly investigating how certain sections of the report were missing and what happened to them afterward. We assure the public that no injustice will be allowed, but this process will take some time. We have already started the investigation, and once it is complete, we will inform the public about the findings.
උනාද පිටු හැලුණාද මොකක්ද උනේ කියලත් අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම පරීක්ෂණ කළා. මේ පිළිබඳ යථා කාලයේදී ජනතාව දැනුවත් කරමු.
මේජර් ජෙනරල් සුරේෂ් සලේ මහත්තයා මේ ළඟදී විශ්‍රාම ගියා. කතෝලික සභාවට හම්බෙච්ච හැම වාර්තාවම මේගොල්ලෝ නිරන්තරයෙන් සඳහන් කරනවා මේ බුද්ධ්‍යංශවල සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවා කියලා. එතට විශ්‍රාම ගියපු සුරේෂ් සලේ මහත්තයා ගෙන්නලා මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබතුමාලාට දැන් මේ රිපෝට් දෙකම ගත්තා නම් අලුතෙන් විමර්ශන කරන්නත් මේ වෙනුවෙන් අමුතු වෙන
සුරේෂ් සලේ වෙනුවට වෙනත් නව පොලිස් නිලධාරිවරයෙක්.
A new police officer has been appointed to replace Suresh Saleh. Even though he has retired, all official communications and documents must remain with the department. If any information or reports have been hidden or lost, he is still obligated to provide them. We have already identified several such instances.
දැන් කීපයක් තියෙනවා. දැනටමත් හඳුනාගත්ත.
පාස්කු ඉරිදා ප්‍රහාරයට පරීක්ෂණය සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබතුමාගේ වචන පාවිච්චි කරපු එක තමයි මැදිහත් වීමක් ආරම්භ කළාද. පොඩි පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද මේක මැදිහත් වීමක් කියලා අලුත් විමර්ශනයක්ද? එහෙම නැත්නම් අලුත් විදියකට කලින් වෙච්ච විමර්ශන නැවත සමාලෝචනය කිරීමක්ද?
ඇත්තටම අලුත් විමර්ශනයක් පරණ තොරතුරු වාර්තා එකතු කර ගනිමි.
කවුද මෙතුමා මේක බාර වෙන්නේ හරි ඒක සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ මොන පුද්ගලයන්ද කියලා අපිට පැහැදිලි කරන්න පුළුවන්ද?
නම් කීපයක් තියෙනවා මට දැන් එකපාරට මතක නැහැ.
නම් කියලා කියන්නේ මට මේ පුද්ගලයන්ගේ නම නෙමෙයි ආයතන හැටියට ඔබට කියන්න පුළුවන්ද මෙන්න මේ
පොලිසිය මගින්
ශානි අබේසේකරවගයාට මේ පිළිබඳ පළපුරුද්දක් තියෙනවා. ඔවුන් මේ කළා තියෙනවා. ඒ ගැන විශාල දැනුමක් තියෙනවා. ඕන් මේකට සම්බන්ධ කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
ඔව් ඇත්තටම අවශ්‍ය තැන්වලදී අපි මැදිහත් කර ගැනීම කරනවා.
Yes, we will involve him where necessary. Shani Abesekura has been appointed to another responsibility, but he will be involved in this investigation as needed. The investigation is being conducted under Deputy Inspector General of Police.
Regarding the central bank bond scam, Minister Herath responded to a recent letter from the former Director General of Media to the President.
මම දැක්කා හිටපු ජනාධිපති මාධ්‍ය ප්‍රකාශක කියලා තිබුණා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා නිදහස් වුණේ මුක්තිය.
I saw the statement from the former President Media Director claiming that Ranil Wickremesinghe was acquitted not because of innocence but due to the legal process. We all know the history. The central bank bond scam occurred in 2015 when he was the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. The central bank governor at the time was Arjuna Mahendran, a close associate of Wickremesinghe. A parliamentary investigation was conducted and it was revealed that the bond issuance was done under Wickremesinghe's instructions as per an inquiry conducted on Arjuna Mahendran. However, Parliament was dissolved and the COPE was disbanded. The public is aware of these events. Later, another COPE was formed under former MP Sunil Handunetti, but many findings were suppressed by the Footnote gang. The public knows these facts. We have no obstacles now. Wickremesinghe can be summoned to court. We have started the investigation based on the COPE findings and commission reports. The main accused are the subject minister and the central bank governor. Without them, justice cannot be served. Therefore, we are proceeding with the investigation based on the available data. This will take some time, but we are not seeking revenge.
ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. ඒකට යම් කාලයක් අවශ්‍යයි. එහෙම නැත්නම් එකපාරට ඇවිල්ලා කාගෙන්වත් පරිගන්න අපි තීරණ ගන්නෙ නැහැ.
The appointment of the acting IGP. Take a look at that story once again. The Constitutional Council has approved the appointment of the acting IGP.
The Constitutional Council has approved the appointment of Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police Priyanthavira Surya as the acting Inspector General of Police. Former Speaker Mahinda Yapabe Wardana, the chairman of the Constitutional Council, stated that the council convened at 1 p.m. today and approved Veera Surya's appointment. Priyanthavira Surya was appointed as the acting IGP following the election of Anurakumara Dissanayake as president.
Sri Lanka decides.
The deadline for submitting postal vote applications for the parliamentary elections has been extended until midnight the day after tomorrow. The original deadline was set for midnight tonight. However, the Election Commission announced this extension is to accommodate potential delays and requests received by the Commission. The deadline for submitting nominations for the parliamentary elections is set for 12 noon this Friday.
The deadline for submitting nominations is 12 noon on the 11th. Objections will be accepted from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. on the same day. After the deadline and the objection period, no rallies or gatherings will be allowed. The police have implemented special security measures. We urge supporters of political parties and independent groups to avoid any unlawful activities and ensure smooth nomination process.
Political parties and independent groups are currently in the process of submitting, signing their nominations and also placing their security deposits. The National People's Power team contesting from the Colombo district signed their nomination papers today. The NPP is contesting under the leadership of Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya. In the Galle district, NPP candidates also signed their nomination papers today. Nalin Hevage serves as the team leader of the Galle district.
For too long, Parliament has been filled with individuals who inherit their positions from their fathers, mothers or family connections. Now, even those who voted against us in the presidential election, including supporters of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, the United National Party and the Tamil National Alliance are realizing that they should vote for us. We are confident in a significant victory.
Meanwhile, the Samagi Jana Balawegaya signed their nominations for the Colombo district at their party headquarters today.
මයිලා සිරින්නේ රැලි වලට හැම සැරේම මං කියනවා වගේ රැලි වලට අහු වෙන්න එපා. ඒ රැලි වලට ගසාගෙන යන සඳදායක එපවට පත් වෙන්න එපා.
SJB's coalition partners also gathered at the party headquarters today. Former MP Lakshman Kirwala announced that he would not be contesting in this election.
නැති මම අවුරුදු 30ක් හිටියනේ. දැන් විවේකසෝයෙන් ඉන්නත් එපා. අවුරුදු 30ක් පාර්ලිමේන්තුව කියන්නේ දීර්ඝ කාලයක්. අපි තරුණ කට්ටියට අවස්ථාවක් දෙන්න එපා.
ඒ කියන්නේ ගෙදරින් කවුරු හරි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවද මේ සැරේ?
හෙට වෙනකන් ඉන්නකෝ.
ඒක ජාතික ලස්තු වෙනවයි කියලා තමයි.
නෑ මම එහෙම කිසි බලාපොරොත්තුවක් නෑ. විවේකසෝයෙන් ඉන්න තමයි මගේ බලාපොරොත්තුව.
දන්න විදිහට මහනු දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ කණ්ඩායම් නායකයා විදිහට ගරු 37 නායක මැතිතුමා ඉදිරිපත් වෙනවා. ඒ අනුව මම නාම යෝජනාවලට අදහසක් තිබුවා.
Due to the large number of parties, there are always nomination issues. In districts like Ampara, we contested alone last time and will do the same this time. We have completed discussions to contest together in other districts.
බුදුමා නාමයෙන් අසං කරන්නේ නැද්ද සජිබෙන්?
නෑ තාම එහෙම තීරණයක් නෑ ජෝමයා.
මොකක් හරි අරුබුදයක් තියෙනවා.
නෑ කිසි අරුබුදයක් නෑ.
නෑ ඉතින් දැන් තව දවස් දෙකයි නේද?
හරි ඉතින් මට වෙලාවක් එන්න බෑ.
I will sign at the right time. We have requested a certain number of candidates from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Until we receive that, I cannot sign. I need to finalize that first. Nominations always have issues. Maithripala Sirisena signed at the last moment. I could have also done the same, but I will not betray the party. An independent group contesting the upcoming parliamentary elections for the Colombo district submitted their nominations today.
We are contesting as an independent group this time because we have no confidence in the existing political parties. We believe that through independence, we can present our voice without any association with those involved in corruption.
The People's Struggle Alliance submitted their nominations for the Putlam district.
It is clear to us that the people of this country are facing significant issues. We need to address these issues head on. We are contesting in all 22 districts in this election.
Additionally, candidates representing the Janasena Perumuna submitted their nominations for the Trincomalee district for the 2024 parliamentary elections.
Factions that supported former President Ranil Wickremesinghe gathered today at the Election Operations Office in Flower Road, Colombo, to discuss the upcoming parliamentary elections. The meeting focused on finalizing the candidate lists and other related matters.
I believe we will present a strong and capable list of candidates for the entire country. We are not aiming for government positions, but we do hope to secure the position of leader of the opposition. After submitting our nominations on the 11th, we will meet on Saturday and then on Monday with the former president and the prime minister. At that time, we will clearly announce who our leader of the opposition will be.
අපි විපක්ෂ නායකවරයා කවුද කියලා. ඔය කියන අගමැතිතුමා අපි දැක්ක පොත්පත් එක සාකච්ඡා කරනවා වගේ ඉල්ලුවා. කොයි අගමැතිතුමාද? නෑ මං හිතන්නේ එතුමා අපි එක්ක ඉතාමත් ශක්තිවන්ත ජනාධිපතිතුමා එක්ක එකට වැඩ කරනවා. මේ කියන්නේ දැන් කොහොමද සමගි ජන බලවේගයත් එක්ක අයියෝ කිසිම වැඩ.
There is no issue there. If the Samagi Jana Balawegya were competent, Anura wouldn't be president.
අනුර කුමාර ජනාධිපති වෙන්නේ නෑනේ.
The Democratic Left Front held a press conference today to announce their support for the National People's Power in the upcoming parliamentary elections.
Our stance is that we should unite and support this government. The members of the Democratic Left Front will not join the opposition. Instead, we will align with the ruling party of the National People's Power. I believe we are the only party making such a declaration. Our goal is to work closely with the government. The NPP has already been taking progressive and immediate steps for the people. For example, while other governments would take months of cabinet discussions to impose higher taxes on imported onions and potatoes, this government did that overnight. Additionally, investigations have begun into the bond scam involving Ranil Wickremesinghe. We tried to establish a relationship with the NPP to contest together in the election and even during the presidential election. We sought a close alliance. However, due to certain policy issues within the NPP, this was not successful. Therefore,
We will contest separately at the parliamentary election, but we have informed our supporters that a vote for us is essentially a vote for the NPP.
අපි වෙනම තරං කරනවා. අපේ අනුගාමිකයන් අපි කියා හිටිනවා. අපිට දෙන්නේ ඡන්දයක් ඔබ ජාතික ජන බලවේගයට දෙන්නේ ඡන්දයක්.
ඔබතුමාලා ප්‍රමුඛව ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී ਸਰව ජන බලවේග සමග ගිවිසුම් ගත්තොත් දැන් මේ ගිවිසුම් වලට මොකද වෙන්නේ ඊට පස්සේ?
අපි ඇති කරගත්තු ගිවිසුම
We have abandoned those agreements following the presidential election result. The presidential election outcome was a significant victory for the left. There is no point in remaining with intermediary parties now.
ඒ කියන්නේ දිලිත් ජයවීර ප්‍රමුඛ එම සන්දානෙන් ඔබතුමාලා අයින් වෙනවා කියන කාරණේ සඳහන් කරන්නේ.
ඔව්. අපි එකෙන් අයින් වුණා.
A group of female representatives from several political parties held a press conference in Borala today where they emphasized the need for greater women's representation at the parliamentary election.
මේ රටේ ජනගහනයේ 152ක් ඉන්නවා කාන්තාවෝ. ඡන්දදායකයන්ගේ 156ක් කාන්තාවෝ හිටියේ.
52% of this country's population are women. Even though women make up 56% of the voters, we have long been subjected to injustice due to the lack of adequate representation in political roles. In the current parliament, there are only 12 women. There should be proper representation at the decision-making levels of this country. Only with balanced representation that the country make decisions that fairly reflect all areas and segments of the population. We especially request that candidates from all districts and provinces, including the north, east and plantation areas, be included in the nomination process.
අපේක්ෂිකාව වැඩිපුර තමුන්ගේ නාම යෝජනා ලැයිස්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කියලා.
එපමණක් නෙවෙයි එතනින් එහාට ගිහිල්ලා අපි දන්නවා ජාති.
We would like to extend our request to include the national list, emphasizing that women's representation should be prioritized here as well. If political parties have a genuine desire to change the political structure of Sri Lanka, they can begin by nominating women and ensuring that women are given positions through the national list.
කාන්තාවන්ට ඒ තැන ලබා දෙන්න.
A decision has been made to reassess the security arrangements for former presidents. This decision was reached during a review committee meeting held yesterday, and the matter was also discussed during today's cabinet press briefing.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයාට 317ක විශේෂ බලයනියක් දීලා තියෙනවා. එතන STF නිලධාරි 50ක් ඉන්නවා. දැන් මේ විශ්‍රාම ගිය පුද්ගලෙක් අපේ මුදලින් නඩත්තු වෙන්නේ. මේ 317ක් මොකටද දීලා තියෙන්නේ? ඒ වගේම තමයි දැන් ඝාතන සැලසුමක් තියෙනවා කියලා පෞසගිය කාලේ අනාවරණය වුණා විපක්ෂ නායකවරයාට. ඒතර විපක්ෂ නායකවරයාගේ ඔහුට ලබා දීලා තිබ්බ පොලිසිය වාහන නැවත ආපසු ගත්තා. නිලධාරි 17ක් ගත්තා. අර මරනවා කියපු මිනිහගේ වාහනයි නිලධාරී ගත්තා. විශ්‍රාම ගිය මනුස්සයට 317ක් වැඩි කරනවා.
විශේෂයෙන්ම ඔබට මම හිතන්නේ වැරදි තොරතුරක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. හිටපු ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාට 317ක නිලධාරීන් කණ්ඩායමක් අනුයුක්ත කරා කියන කාරණය. කෙසේ වෙතත් පසුගිය දිනවල තිබුණේ එතුමාගේ ආරක්ෂාව ඉවත් කරා කියන තොරතුර. නමුත් අපි පැහැදිලිව කිව්වා එතුමාගේ ආරක්ෂාව කිසිම ආකාරයකට ඉවත් කිරීමක් කරලා නැහැ. එතුමාගේ ආරක්ෂාව මේ වෙන විටත් අපි ලබා දීමක් කරලා තියෙනවා. පොලිස් විශේෂ
I believe there is some misinformation. The claim that 317 officers have been assigned to the former president is incorrect. Recently, there were reports that his security was withdrawn, but we clarified that his security has not been removed. He still has a security detail, including 50 STF officers. A special committee has been appointed to conduct a threat analysis for all former presidents and other dignitaries. Based on this analysis, we will determine the necessary security arrangements. Until then, the current security measures for the former president and other dignitaries remain in place. It is standard practice not to disclose the exact number of security personnel for security reasons.
ජනාධිපතිතුමාටත් ඒ වගේම දැනට ඒ හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුමන්ලට දීලා තියෙන ආරක්ෂාව තව දෙයක් තියෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම එවැනි ප්‍රභූවරයෙකුට දෙන ආරක්ෂාව සම්බන්ධව මෙපමණ නිලධාරීන් සංඛ්‍යාවක් ඉන්නවා අනුයුක්ත කරනවා කියන එක අපි සාමාන්‍ය නිල වශයෙන් ප්‍රකාශයටපත් කරන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද මෙන්න මේ නිලධාරීන් සංඛ්‍යාව ඉන්නවා කියන එක ඒක ආරක්ෂාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් තියෙන කාරණයක්. ඒ නිසා අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඒ සංඛ්‍යාව ප්‍රකාශයටපත් කරන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් ඒ අවශ්‍යතාවය අනුව නිලධාරීන් ලබා දීම මේ වන විට සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන කාරණයක්. කිසිම අඩුපාඩුවක් නැතුව.
අර ඝාතන සැලසුමක් තියෙන විපක්ෂ නායකයාගේ ආරක්ෂාව ඉවත් කරේ
නෑ. ඝාතනයක් කියන්නේ මැතිවරණයේ තිබුණු කාල සීමාව තුළ මැතිවරණයේ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකවරයෙක් විදිහට එතුමා ඉදිරිපත් කළා තිබුණා. ඒ කාල සීමාවේ තමයි මේ යම්කිසි ආකාරයක පැමිණිල්ලක් ලැබිලා තිබුණේ, අපිට තොරතුරක් ලැබිලා තිබුණේ. ඔව් ඇත්තටම පැමිණිල්ලක් විදිහට ලැබිලා තිබුණා මේ වගේ ඝාතන සැලසුමක් තියෙනවා කියලා. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව දීර්ඝ විමර්ශනයක් සිදු කළා. ඒ විමර්ශන සිදු කිරීමේදී අපිට අනාවරණය වුණා එවැනි ආකාරයේ සැලසුමක්. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට හඳුනා ගන්නට ලැබුණේ නැහැ කවුද මේ සඳහා සැලසුමක් කළා තියෙනවද. එවැනි ඝාතන සැලසුමක් පිළිබඳ අනාවරණයක් උනේ නැහැ. නමුත් මේ වෙනකොට දැන් මැතිවරණ කාල සීමාවක් නෙවෙයි ඒ වගේම එතුමා දෛනිකව දැන් මේ එවැනි රැස්වීම් ආමන්ත්‍රණය කිරීමක් කරන්නේ නැහැ. නිසා එතන එපමණ නිලධාරීන් සංඛ්‍යාවක් එතන අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් අපි අවශ්‍යතාවයක් ආවොත් ඒ පිළිබඳව සලකලා බලලා අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු කිරීම ඒක වෙනම කාරණයක්. ඒ මැතිවරණ කාල සීමාවේ ලබා දී තිබූ ආරක්ෂාව දැන් මේ වෙනකොට ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ.
ඉස්සරහට අපි බුද්ධ්‍යංශ වාර්තා කැඳවලා විශේෂිත ආරක්ෂාවක් ලබා දිය යුතු අය ඉන්නවනම් එයාට අපි ලබා දෙනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් කාටත් පොදුවේ සාධාරණව තමයි මේක ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ.
On to your news overseas. Green jobs have been growing worldwide and now make up 10 to 15% of employment globally. But women only hold a third of these positions and the labour supply might not keep up with the demand.
A blog by the International Monetary Fund said that men hold about 70% of the world's polluting jobs, so one might think that they have most to lose from the transition to cleaner energy. After all, they risk finding themselves out of work as countries close down dirty industries in a push to decarbonize and reach net zero emission targets. Yet, an IMF analysis shows that women are also at risk of losing out over the course of the transition. Women are much more underrepresented in green jobs, which improve environmental sustainability or reduce greenhouse gas emissions, than in polluting jobs, those in industries with per worker emissions in the top 5% of polluters. While most workers work in neutral jobs, that gap is important because green jobs, which already employ 1 in 10 workers, are poised for much faster employment growth as the world shifts towards a sustainable economy.
Braving the ongoing war, ambulance drivers in Gaza have been working round the clock to save people's lives since the latest round of the Palestine-Israel conflict broke out on the 7th of October 2023.
Braving the ongoing war, ambulance drivers in Gaza have been working around the clock to save people's lives since the latest round of Palestine-Israel conflict, which broke out on the 7th of October 2023. The challenges they are facing are numerous and sometimes deadly. The road conditions are poor. The vehicles they drive are old and they are outdated, and they are frequently targeted by the Israeli attacks. This is indeed a genocidal war that doesn't differentiate between the old and young, according to Motas Ayub, an ambulance driver in Gaza. He noted that most of the mechanics from North and Gaza City have moved south. The serious lack of mechanics and repair workshops is another major problem. The repair workshops have been attacked. Most of the repair workshops in Gaza Strip, especially those in Gaza City, have been targeted.
Many historical sites in the Gaza Strip have become ruins after suffering a devastating Israeli attacks over the past year since the outbreak of the latest round of conflict between Palestine and Israel.
The Great Mosque of Gaza, also known as the Al-Omari Grand Mosque, the largest and the oldest mosque in the Gaza Strip, was extensively destroyed in the Israeli attacks in late 2023. Founded more than 1,400 years ago with an area of about 4,100 square meters, the Omari Mosque was an important historical monument in Gaza City and renowned in the Middle East. But now only its ruins remain. The Omari Mosque is not the only ancient monument that has been suffered devastating disasters. According to statistics from relevant Palestinian authorities, more than 280 buildings in the old town of Gaza City are over 100 years old, of which more than 100 are over 500 years old. Over the past year, the prolonged conflict has caused huge damage to them, and some buildings even have no trace of their original appearance. Now, the local people can only recall the appearance of these historical buildings and their previous life through photos.
Sri Lanka's women's cricket team captain Chamari Athapattu has expressed her hopes of showcasing the team's skills once again in the upcoming match against India in the 2024 ICC Women's T20 World Cup. Athapattu shared her expectations during a press conference held in Dubai.
I know my failures have significantly impacted the team. Many people in Sri Lanka are waiting for me to deliver my best performance. I believe we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. There is pressure, but we need to handle it well. The team that manages the pressure best will win tomorrow's match. I urge the spectators to come and watch the match tomorrow. I understand that Sri Lankan fans may not be entirely happy right now as they have high expectations from us, but we are determined to play well. I ask the fans not to lose hope. Tomorrow's match is very important to me. It's a challenge to see how I handle the pressure, and I am ready to take it on. I have faced bigger challenges before.
And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.
Good night.